I will respond a little to what you said, because it leads me to what I think the solution, what the challenges are, and how we should surmount them. When you gave an example, you said that it has not done anything, and you gave an example with the example I gave of GVR and what happened in Lagos. So if we have this scheme since 1974, that's a question. If we had this scheme since 1974, why is it like that? The best way to look at this is to look at the Nigerian society and then look at the level of criminality and moral decadence and all of that, and then say the church has done absolutely nothing. The church should be scrapped. Because why are the churches filled? But then we have all of this thing. We have greed. We have almost a complete breakdown of morals, right? The question somebody might ask is, okay, just imagine that there was no religious institution. If you think it is this bad, so that is how I also look at that. If we think the NYSC has done nothing, I agree, it has not achieved what it has set out for. But if it wasn't there, now, how you look at it is, have you ever heard of inter-ethnic fights and quarrels in the camps? The answer is no. And so that tells you. And that is why when I talk to young Nigerians, I'm like, you need to be more, we need to be careful of the narratives outside there.
Yeah.
Why? Because when you find young people from different ethnic groups, whatever brings them together, they coexist well, even in schools. The problem is we never apply that knowledge we learn. For instance, the fact that we've gone to camp and we've gone to serve and we've played with different people and we've had different experiences with different people and we've had fun together and we've shared dreams together and we've shared contacts. But then when we leave that camp, we still come back to our bases, and people who have not had those experiences tell us what to think and feel about people from those other places. See, Nigerians, almost every Nigerian is still victim to this manipulation. For instance, when you look at political parties, how Nigerian political parties, whether you look at the big ones, whether you look at PDP or whether you look at APC, you are going to find that in the board of trustees, in the National Working Committee, when they congregate to do all the things they do, you find Christians and Muslims. You find Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, Tiv, you find all of them together, getting along. But as they get along together, making money together, whether they are PDP or APC, when it is time for them to have elections, they all go back to their states and do the same thing. The truth is, these people who manipulate Nigerians do not believe in the things they say. It's just like some clergymen too, who are also guilty of that. All of the things they tell people, some of them tell people, not to seek medical help, but Christ will heal them. But the same people's children have the best of Medicare anywhere in the world. You have people who tell people how God's protection and tell them to buy this anointing oil and this and this and this, but you find them having the best of military protection, right? So it is this same level of deception and hypocrisy that is embedded and entrenched in our society that is affecting different sectors. Now, let's us come to what I think the issues are. I think the issues are government needs to raise up to responsibility. Because, for instance, now we're talking about the state of these camps. Is it different from the military barracks? No.
From our university hostels.
Is it different? No, I'm talking about the children of those whom the governments who help these politicians remain in power. Is it different from what we have in our police barracks and even training schools? It's the same thing. It is just the same thing. Is it different from how they treat the pensioners who have served them for 35 years, who've put in 35 years in government ministries? It is the same thing. Is it different from how, their orderlies get shot? There's this level of insecurity, get shot and they leave their families. Is it different from what is higher? Even Christ himself said it. What else could be a greater love than a man lays down his life for him, right? Is it different from how our soldiers who are on the front lines fighting for us, they die, and the first thing the Nigerian government do is even to deny them? To say it didn't happen, to reduce the numbers, to hound the media that reported it. When everybody knows that when a military, somebody who wears the uniform of a country dies, the first thing you do is you inform the family. The second thing you do, you are responsible for the family. Do you know, as we speak in Nigeria today, people who died fighting Boko Haram? I'm not telling you what I think, I'm telling you what I know. People whose fathers died fighting Boko Haram, they're evicted from the barracks when their parents die, when their father dies. This is a country that should take care of them. So it is the same negligence. You know, it is not negligence for it is, you know, it is not negligence for the NYSC scheme that the government is guilty of. It is negligence and total irresponsibility and gross misconduct of running away from its responsibility.
Yeah.
That idea we have in Nigeria of leadership is supposed to be, and that is what leadership is. At the end of the day, leadership and power is responsibility. Nothing more, nothing less. It is just that idea that when you give people power in Nigeria, they take the privilege. They take the privilege. Yes, they take the privilege and then throw away the responsibility. And also that problem we do have in Nigeria, that when people try to hold government accountable, even people you are fighting for look at you as a rebel. I'll give an example with Showore. I don't support his politics. I don't think he is right to be Nigerian president. That is my personal sentiment. That is my personal opinion. I think he has his time. Do I think he's qualified? I think he is qualified academically, with experience. I think so. But I think it's not his time. I think he needs to work also on certain aspects of, because leadership is, like I said, leadership is responsibility.
Yeah.
I think he needs to go through certain kind of things before, that is what I think. But he's an excellent Nigerian and all. But he is doing a wonderful job, and on that part where he is doing a wonderful job, we need him. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about people like him. There are many across Nigeria. But I'm just using him as an example because he has a name, all right? What you find out about Nigeria is that when people like Showore, who are many across Nigeria, when they raise their voice to demand accountability from government, the very people who call them troublemakers, clout seekers, these troublesome people, are not even the Nigerian elite. They are not governors, they are not ministers. They are Nigerians on social media who are spending time on social media because they are not gainfully employed. Right? So this is the problem. The problem we have is that Nigerians have been made. They are, even though they are victims, but even a victim needs to start owning up to I'm a victim, but I'm also responsible
for one or two
things
I didn't do well.
That makes the victimization continue. I've forgotten the thinker who said this. I've forgotten his name. But he said the oppressor wouldn't be so strong if he did not have accomplice among the oppressed. It's not possible. It's not possible. So the point I'm trying to make is, yesterday's students, today's coppers need to rise up. And yesterday's coppers and today's adults, we need to rise up and tell government, no, this is not the idea. This is not the idea. You talked about when pay for their transport and all. When somebody, whoever is serving fatherland, they shouldn't pay for basic amenities. That is the idea all over the world. They shouldn't pay for basic amenities. You see what we now celebrate as Alawi? I think it should even be taken out. Stipend should come from whoever, wherever you're posted. You see, something should not be negotiable. To and fro flights, tickets, connecting transportation, basic amenities and all. She laughed. You know she laughed. You know, the government has put us in a box.
They expect us to come with bicycle because they always give us bicycle allowance.
Yeah.
They always give you 1,400
Yeah.
so they expect you to
Don't forget the people who set this system, because this is a system. Because we've accepted the Alawi. The people who set this system are the same people who come up with schemes that distribute 5 billion naira as 8,000 naira a month to 50,000. This is what these people expect. Meanwhile, governance is all about providing amenities, not cash, all over the world.
When you provide amenities, people will now spend for themselves.
Yes. So what is supposed to be is that if you are serving your fatherland, you have your uniform. You have your uniform, you have your ID card, because sometimes you might not be in uniform. You know, part of what government should provide is public transportation. That as a copper, if you board any, it is free. And then goodwill will come where sometimes somebody could tell you, okay, the queue is too long here, go here, I'll pay for you, and all of those things. Transportation, some kind of feeding, you know, the basic things should be free for anybody serving the land, because what you are doing is service, and service has payment. But we are trying to monetize this to 1,000 naira a day. Okay, if you pay anybody 30,000 naira, you're giving him 1,000 or her 1,000 naira a day. 1,000 naira a day because this money comes in bulk. It sounds like, but 1,000 naira a day for transportation for somebody serving in Onitsha. How do you cope?
What of transport? What of feeding?
No, talk about transport now to your center first of all. 1,000 naira does not be okay. Now you're talking about, let us say 2 meals a day. Please, for heaven's sake. The other day we went to eat and they said 2,000 naira a plate. Right, and that seems to be the average here in housing right now, except you want to go and eat in some kind of places. But even if you want to go and eat in those kind of places, will you find a plate of food below 500 naira? I don't know.
No, not for now.
All right, so what is 1,000 naira a day, just like you were saying, right? So the government should provide all of these things and then give them stipends. You can give them stipends of 5,000 naira a month. It doesn't matter, right? But they shouldn't. And then if a place is not secure, somebody said it on radio, if a state is not secure, there's no pretending about it, and that is what our government does. They pretend like there's no problem.
And the minister that made that comment pretend that he don't know that our camp
is that way, right? So why should you send somebody to Borno? You know, what is the pretense about it? We say no. For now, Borno said, look at America. America, with all of her military might, with all of her intelligence, send advisory to our citizens almost on a daily basis. Don't go to so place. Look at when during the Iraqi invasion, some people call it war, some people call it, I call it invasion. When America invaded Iraq, because they had no reason to be there, right? The threat, I mean, it awoke the sentiment of Islamist terrorists across the world, right? So with American intelligence, they were doing something on American soil. They were fighting in Iraq, but they were doing something on American soil. They had a meter. It had green, yellow, red. It was called terror alert, you know, like the chat terror alert. And every day they will tell you where it is. Do you know what that means? Anywhere you are in America, be careful. There's likely to be, you know, we are expecting these guys to want to strike America because they are annoyed over our presence in Iraq. Right. But they were doing something. They were being particular about cities. So sometimes they'll tell you for New York, it is red. For Hawaii, it is. And
if you are in, be careful.
So why should Nigeria not accept that we are at war and our children shouldn't be in certain places? This is unacceptable. We need to work on that.